Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Evening Devotion. So hopefully you got to see the video at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time of a testimony that Sister Nina gave, and it was a wonderful testimony. It's great to hear of the Lord real time acting in people's lives, and I did that video in lieu of John, but tomorrow we'll pick right back up where we left off in the book of John. Tonight we're going to be reading out of Psalm 36:9. With thee is the fountain of life. The whole verse says, "For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light." Let's get some context here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Verse 4, he devises wickedness on his bed. He sets himself in a way that is not good. Wait. Hold on a second. Let's start at the beginning. Verse 1, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, the servant of the Lord. An oracle within my heart concerning the transgression of the wicked. There is no fear of God before his eyes. For he flatters himself in his own eyes when he finds out his iniquity and when he hates. So he knows he's sinning, but it doesn't have any effect on him. The words of his mouth are wickedness and deceit. He has ceased to be wise and to do good. He devises wickedness on his bed. He sets himself in a way that is not good. He does not abhor evil. There's a New Testament in fact, I covered it here a while back, like a week ago, I think, where it mentions many of these very same aspects of those who seek to do the opposite of good. Verse 5, your mercy, O Lord, is in the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the great mountains. Your judgments are a great deep. O Lord, you preserve man and beast. How precious is your loving kindness, O God. Therefore the children of men put their trust under the shadow of your wings. They are abundantly satisfied with the fullness of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your pleasures. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. O continue your loving kindness to those who know you, and your righteousness to the upright in heart. Notice the exclusivity of this here. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and let not the hand of the wicked drive me away. For the workers of iniquity have fallen. They have been cast down and are not able to rise. So you notice that there is a inclusiveness, or not inclusiveness, exclusiveness to that. To those who love you, to those who do good. These blessings belong to. Now there are general blessings that go to everybody. All mankind. The fact that we haven't had any major disasters is incredible. The fact we haven't gone to war in any major aspect is incredible. That's mercies of God. It's the blessings of God. It rains on the just and the unjust. But for those that are his, it's a much different story. There are times in our spiritual experience when human counsel or sympathy or religious ordinances fail to comfort or help us. Why does our gracious God permit this? Perhaps it is because we have been living too much without him, and he therefore takes away everything upon which we have been in the habit of depending. If we put our dependence on money, what happens? Usually he takes it away. If we put our dependence on anything, usually he removes that. He wants us to stand up and to have a relationship with him, that he may drive us to himself. Boom, right there. It is a blessed thing to live at the fountainhead. While our skin bottles are full, we are content, like Hagar and Ishmael, to go into the wilderness. But when those are dried, nothing will serve us but thou, God, seest me. We are like the prodigal. We love the swine troughs and forget our Father's house. Remember, we can make swine troughs and husks even out of the forms of religion. They are blessed things, but we may put them in God's place, and then they are of no value. Anything becomes an idol when it keeps us away from God. Let me repeat that first part of that sentence there. Anything becomes an idol when it keeps us away from God. We see this in the churches today. We see this in the evangelism. We see this in mega churches and prosperity teachers. We see this everywhere today. Even the things that are of God, they turn into an idol. We're not supposed to do that. We look to God, the one who gave us those things. They've turned the gift of tongues into an idol. Look how they worship it. Look how they worship it. It's incredible. Even the brazen serpent is to be despised as Nehushtan, if we worship it instead of God. The prodigal was never safer than when he was driven to his father's bosom, because he could find sustenance nowhere else. Our Lord favors us with a famine in the land, that it may make us seek after himself the more. See, the bad things that we see, the things that we perceive, those are meant for our good. The best position for a Christian is living wholly and directly on God's grace, still abiding where he stood at first, having nothing, and yet possessing all things. Let us never for a moment think that our standing is in our sanctification, our mortification, our graces, or our feelings, but know that because Christ offered a full atonement before we are saved, for we are complete in him. Know that because Christ offered a full atonement, therefore we are saved, for we are complete in him. Do you believe this? Having nothing of our own to trust to, but resting upon the merits of Jesus, his passion and holy life furnish us with the only sure ground of confidence. Beloved, when we are brought to a thirsting condition, we are sure to turn to the fountain of life with eagerness. Sometimes he has to bring us through very dark pathways in order to get to where the light is. Listen, you can't see where the light is unless it's dark. If everything's light, you can't tell what light you're supposed to go to. You can't tell what light you should be going to. But when things are dark, then it's easy to see that light. And it's all the more you make your moves to get to that location. And then stay there. So it has to be dark in order to see the light. Remember in the beginning when God created everything? It was dark. There was no light. God said, "Let there be light." And he made light in the darkness so that we could see where we were going. We could see where we needed to go. It all started on that very first day. That first statement, "Let there be light." But it still had to be dark in order to find the light. Notice that darkness doesn't drive out light. Light drives out darkness. It's not like that. It's like that on purpose. The darkness doesn't push the light out of the way to take its place. The darkness waits until the light leaves and then returns to take its place. Look at the sun going up and down. You'll see what I mean. And the darkness doesn't yield to the light in as much as it's walking away to let the light take its place. The light pushes the darkness away. You notice the darkness likes to, as the sun's coming up, likes to hide behind objects. That's where the shadows come from. Darkness is hiding behind those things to stay away from the light. Creation shows us this reality. And it may seem, just like we talked about earlier, it may seem like things are dark. It may seem like things are terrible. But this is when he turns the light on. And this is where the most amazing things happen. Look what we talked about the testimony earlier. Look at what the Lord is doing. In a situation that seems so negative to Sister Nina, what a positive it's turning into. How amazing. That's God. That's how he does. Because the world doesn't understand it. The world can't grasp this concept. They can't grasp that out of the darkest and worst conditions come the greatest lights and greatest changes and greatest revivals. And so, it has to get dark. Otherwise, we wouldn't know which way to walk. Otherwise, we wouldn't know what direction to go to. But once we're there, may we stay there in the light and never leave. Because once you're in the light, then it's very easy to see where the darkness is. When we're in the dark, we can't tell where it is. But in the light, we can see all things. So we stay in the light so we can see. We don't wander back out into the darkness. Heaven forbid, stay away. May we never leave his glorious light. May we never walk away from his glorious truth. But instead stay in here, because these things are the torches, the flashlights, the lanterns, the candle on a bushel, the light, the glorious light of God that shows us the truth of everything. In us, in the world, and in everything else. Without that, we have no view of anything. You listen to sailors, if they've ever been through a shipwreck, especially the guys in World War II, and they'll tell you everything was fine. We could see them coming. We could kick them in the nose. We could pound the sharks off and chase them away. While we're floating in the water, we would all band up. But they said the worst was the nighttime. You couldn't see them coming, and all you could hear is screams in the dark. And they said, but the scariest time was just when the light started to come up. They said that's when the sharks really came. Why? The danger comes right at the moment the light is about to rise, because they know that they have very little time left. Why was it so scary in the dark? You can't see your enemy approaching. You can't see what your enemy is doing. You can't prepare for the attack. But if you stay in the light, you don't have that problem anymore. It's incredible. The way he made it was so perfect. So perfect. If we would just stay in the light, we wouldn't have as many problems as we would have. Oh, there's going to be normal life things. But in the light, we know what it is and where it's leading, because we can see down the path. And the only path that is illuminated is the one that leads right to Jesus Christ, right to the narrow gate, right along the narrow way. That's the only one that's illuminated. All the rest are darkness. All the rest are smooth and easy in the dark. See, in the dark you can't see stumbling stones. In the light you can. You can avoid them. You can climb over them. You can step over them. In the dark you can't, so the way is very smooth that leads to destruction. It's already dark. They can't see where they're going. Stay in the light, brothers and sisters. Always stay in the light. Always look to Him. No matter how dark it gets, no matter how crazy things get, no matter how terrible things get, always look to Him. Always look to the light. If you stay there, there's nothing else to worry about. If you stay there, there's no more fear. It's peace. Peace and joy beyond expression. That's Jesus. That's what He's given to us. That's the blessing. Such a blessing that we have in Him. I love you all very much. I bless you all in Jesus' name, and I'll see you in the next video.